Hey everybody, it's Victor from Bourbonnais Motor Cars. So today I'm sitting in the 2022 Mazda CX-5 Carbon Edition. As you can see, we have the red seats, we have that color, that polymetal gray on the exterior, and I want to cover what this CX-5 does compared to the other ones. Every customer I get is usually looking for the Carbon Edition. It's that midpoint priced CX-5 with the flair of a top-of-the-line model that stands out in the street. I mean, a lot of people that look for these cars, they're typically looking for something that's going to stand out, has the functionality that they need, and then is that Mazda. Now, I want to go over again, as I usually do, I want to kind of cover a, professional journalist point of view versus my own opinions and point of view. We're going to go off of caranddriver.com's Eric Stafford's article on the 22 CX-5. Just to cover some of the main details that you'll see in most CX-5s. As I go through the video, I think it works really well for me to cut in and out to video of the car, as I took kind of stock footage, if you will, of the exterior, the interior, giving you an idea of what this car looks like. As you can see, this gives you a good idea of what that red seat looks like. I know a lot of people say it's red, kind of cranberry-ish, but I think it's the right color for the car, and it's not too bright or in your face, and it goes well with this kind of subtle dashboard that Mazda has in most of their vehicles. So to start, now this is pretty cool. So Car and Driver gave most of the Mazda models the editor's choice, which is why I typically use their articles from their website. Now, 10 out of 10, this one got as far as editor's choice and Car and Driver. So the highs from Eric Stafford, quote, beautifully sculpted bodywork, delightfully athletic, and equally refined, decidedly more premium than his competitors. The lows, non-turbo engine needs a little bit more oomph, and it can only tow about 2,000 pounds. And then the cargo space in the Mazdas, because it's a little bit more of a sportier look, isn't fantastic. I think groceries, small dogs, they'll fit fine, but compared to some of the competitors, you do get a little bit more space in some of those other vehicles, like the CR-V and the RAV4. In my opinion, it's probably one of the most popular vehicles right now. I mean, Mazda in general, I think I read that they sold more CX-5s than any other vehicle in their lineup, and that's combined. So, I mean, it's really popular. They give you pretty much everything you need to get in a car, and you're not breaking the bank. This vehicle is listed is $31,505, and that's with a sunroof, power liftgate. The only thing they removed from the 2022s is the Bose radio system. So as you can kind of see up here, you kind of have a normal tweeter in terms of the pillar, and typically it's that little black Bose logo that's going to go in there with that upgraded sound system, but it saves you $440 as far as I know. To cover the article a little bit more, so the overview of this car is pretty neat. Now, quote, more than any other mainstream compact crossover, the 2022 Mazda CX-5 makes its driver feel special. With a price tag that's much closer to the CR-Vs than a Porsche Macan, the Mazda is accessible to the same demographic group as the former, but is also able to impress those who fall into the latter's tax bracket, which, like I said, the styling, the design of the cars, the way they drive, the way they feel, they blur that competitive level. So you get into your BMW X models, you get into your Audi Q3s, and it kind of starts to blur that line of, am I in a Mazda or am I in a luxury vehicle? I mean, clearly there's a difference, but without spending $60,000 for half the price, I think I'd rather drive the Mazda. Back to the article. So the CX-5 base 4-cylinder engine doesn't highlight the dynamic driving personality as well as the optional turbocharged, but all models have a ride and handling balance that's unrivaled in this segment. There are more practical alternatives, especially when it concerns cargo space, but no competitors can match Mazda's elegantly styled and richly appointed interior. The 2022 CX-5 Transcendent traits simply outpace all of its classmates, so they put it on their editor's choice list for 2022. Which, I mean, I even got emails from Mazda about how they consider that to be an honor, and it's really cool to have that happen. So to cover what's new with the car, now you'll see some obviously video playing it, overlaying what's going on, but so 2022, Mazda massages the CX-5's already attractive bodywork with smoother surfaces in the front and the rear. Its grille also becomes more distinctive with a new 3-dimensional mesh texture and wings that extend outward towards the reshaped LED headlights. Inside, the seats have been updated to be more supportive. Mazda also said it returned the transmission to be smoother and more responsive. Likewise, suspension improvements are said to make the handle and ride even better than before. All models now come standard with all-wheel drive, which is, I think, one of the better choices, because if you're going to get an SUV, 9 times out of 10, especially where we are in the Midwest, you definitely want all-wheel drive. The SUV's driving behavior is more adjustable thanks to new driving mode settings. The Grand Touring Reserve trim is now called the Turbo. The top tier signature trim has body color cladding instead of the previous dark color. I've talked about that before. So really, really cool when you get up to the turbo models and the signature models. The turbo model has black gloss molding around the edges of the car, and the signature actually has painted moldings, which I think is one of the coolest things I've seen Mazda do. I'm hoping that they kind of bring that over to other trim levels. The molding around the car is actually painted, so it really gives it stands out. I think it's a fantastic choice that they made with the design of that car to show off that you have the premium trim, and you went all out and got that turbocharged model. Pricing wise, just to give you a quick overview, so they range from the base model around $27,100 to that turbo signature up into the $39,800 models. So in terms of price, you kind of have across the board, but the great thing is you don't lose a lot of features in between. Aside from leather, navigation, every vehicle is going to have driver's assistance. So in terms of adaptive cruise control, brake assist, blind spot monitors, they're all going to have those features. So you don't really lose some of the newer features that are typically important to you. So to cover performance, Mazda typically has the standard 2.5 liter that they put in all their vehicles. You're looking at 187 horsepower with that. Now the turbocharged actually gives you another 60 or so horsepower, pushing that to 250. So feeling that quicker movement with the turbo is definitely beneficial. You do like to move a little faster. I mean, me personally, I think that 2.5 liter is just enough power if I'm going day to day to get to work, to go to the movies, or whatever I'm doing with my family. I think it's just more than enough power that I'm going to need. And you're not sacrificing too much performance there in terms of getting like a comparable 2 liter or a 1.8 liter in some cases. With that 2.5 liter, it's rated 24 in the city and 30 on the highway. The more powerful turbocharged engine, you lose a little bit, of course, with the power. 22 city, 27 in the highway, respectively. So moving on to interior. Now, interior, we'll quote the article on this, and I'll give you a little bit of my opinion. So to quote Eric over at Car and Driver, quote, "Wake up inside the top tier CX-5 models and you might think you've been abducted by kidnappers driving an Audi or a Mercedes." Funny enough, I work for Mercedes and I can kind of attest to that. First-rate materials and fabulous layout feel especially upscale, so even to your dashboard, your door panels having that synthetic leather going across the top, it actually gives you that really nice luxury feel that you will typically see in a Mercedes or an Audi. The floor hinge accelerator pedal feels better than the common version that's suspended above the floor. A well-crafted steering wheel is actually directed right in the middle, so it's not off on an angle or anything like that. And then your armrest actually sits at a height where it's optimal in terms of driving. So super comfortable. So the storage bay does benefit from a completely flat loaded floor, so the seats will kind of fold down in the back, giving you that space you need. And then a little compartments, of course, for your phone and USB. You'll always have those there as well. Now to cover infotainment, so I'll play definitely a video going across to kind of give you an idea what the dashboard looks like, but every model boasts this 10.3-inch infotainment display that's primarily manipulated through a rotary controller and volume knob in the center console. Typically that's where your hand's going to rest, so a lot of manufacturers are starting to put the controls down on the bottom. It's also less distracting, so you don't have to reach up and control things. Now, you can use volume controls on this vehicle. You also have the option of steering wheel controls. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are standard across all CX-5s. So that middle screen, if you decide to plug in your phone, it'll change to your phone screen. So any third-party apps, if you use Waze versus Maps versus Google, you'll have all those options. Connected services also is included in all Mazda, so even the base model is going to have remote start through your phone via the My Mazda app, and different things like Wi-Fi hotspots, service recommendations, all of that you'll get even in a base model Mazda, which I think is just a great addition to just Mazda overall. Now again, we covered this a little bit. So safety, they gave it a 5 stars for NHTSA, and it comes standard with a comprehensive suite of driver assistance tech, so we covered some of that. Crash test results are fantastic. We've covered that blind spot assister there, adaptive cruise control standard, rear view camera. You get a lot of safety with every Mazda. So even if you're buying the base S model, you're still going to get those safety features. So if you can live without some of the amenities, I mean, you can get a really fully featured vehicle and have everything you need in a car for the next 5-6 years. I mean, if you decide to get out early, I work at a Mazda. We typically don't see a lot of them coming through that need heavy work. It's a lot of maintenance. So this was a quick overview of that Carbon Edition. I hope you really enjoyed the video. Gonna push more into taking more video to kind of overlay over me talking. Hopefully that helps if you're trying to get a feel for what these look like. I know I searched all over the internet. I do have customers looking to see what that looks like. So that gray with the red seats, and I usually have to recommend another YouTube video. So hopefully this helps me in the sense that I can just say, hey, take a look at my video, see if you like the car, see if it's right for you. One little thing that I've noticed as I've kind of seen these Mazdas up close is I love the two-tone stitching. But you have red stitching going across the leather on the door panel. Up on the top of the dash is actually gray or black stitching. So it kind of gives you a really nice two-tone. And some of the little things like that I really appreciate, small touches that give the car a little bit more personality. So you have that gray stitching here, but the stitching around the steering wheel is actually red. So it does give you a bit of personality with the car. Every time I do these videos, I have a great time. I really enjoy seeing comments on YouTube and being able to help out where I can. As always, thank you for watching the video. If you've stayed this long, I am Victor. I work for Mercedes and Mazda, one of the product specialists in Bourbonnais, Illinois. So we are Bourbonnais Motor Cars. I'll put that right up top. We're at 515 William R. Latham Drive in Bourbonnais, Illinois, and Bourbonnais, I'll put the spelling up there too. People tend to have a hard time with that. I moved out here 5 years ago, had a really hard time with that for a while. So I appreciate you watching the video. You can follow me, subscribe, like the video here, of course. If you see me on YouTube, fantastic. I appreciate you watching. If you're on Facebook, Instagram, it is BMC Victor. Definitely follow me on all the socials. I do customer appreciation all over the board, and I appreciate everybody's time. So thanks again for watching. Have a great day, everybody.